Hello. Right, well, first of all, I guess God bless the Queen. And God save King Charles III, as it's now called. Or as he's now called. It's going to take some getting used to that one, isn't it? Anyway, so that's the big news of the way tonight. So I thought what I'd do is follow up on the video from a few days ago, which was all about the power usage on the PD Pro and the Blade. So it caused quite a bit of a bother across social media, so thanks to those of you who shared it on the various platforms. I don't have an account on Facebook anymore. It's a cesspit. So anyway, I've seen screenshots. I use the wife's account to have a nosy. But yeah, so here we go. It's another spreadsheet. Gotta love a spreadsheet. I hate the bloody things. But I've got more data from the PD Pro, from the Blade, and I've got the sub in there as well now, the little sub. So I thought I'd have a quick little look at that, see how that comes out against them all. So yeah, the energy price guarantee was announced today from Liz Truss. So it's been a strange week, hasn't it, really? We've got a new lady Prime Minister. We've got a new male king. King Charles III. Thought it was going to be King George VII, to be fair, because that's what he wanted to be called. But I guess he's not allowed to do that, is he? So we have got this. Loads of data. Very dry, very boring. I apologise. But what I've done, I've run the numbers. The energy price guarantee was announced today. So you've got they've got an estimate for what we were going to be paying under the October Ofgem Price Cap. $3,500 a month. Sorry, a year. Fucking hell, that'd be a nightmare, wouldn't it? And they've changed it to $2,500 a year. So it's, I think I worked it out around 42% lower, which they show that as a £1,050 saving. So what I've done, I've taken that data. I've created a new running costs per month for the PD Pro, for the Sub, and for the Blade. So the Philips PD machine, just I've seen quite a few posts that are going up on Facebook saying it costs more than the PD Pro. That's the wrong way around. The PD Pro uses 20% more power than the PD. I've got to admit, I had them running side by side in December. I got rid of my Philips PD in the end. I thought I'll just stay with the PD Pro, but it is always run around 20% higher. So I raised that in December, and to be fair, it's never changed. So firmware 1.75 landed yesterday in the morning. Took a couple of goes to actually install on the machine for whatever reason. First time it didn't like it. It stayed on 172. It took a couple of goes and eventually went to 175. So it does seem, I can actually show you here, that at the minute, let's just bring this in a bit. So I've been dicking about today, that's where the empty data is, but you can see because it's reading the data from the plug, the value for the day, it just carries on as normal. So it's now 1942. So we've used 1.25 kilowatts today. Yesterday by 1942 would use 1.37 kilowatts. You can see I actually swapped I finished one keg off, put another keg in from the fridge, and then the PD Pro went into full power mode for like a few hours. But yeah, it looks like so far, I don't know if it's the weather or the firmware, but it's using around 10% less currently today than what it was yesterday. So time will tell, because you can see it's that's one of the things I kept saying on Facebook, was people saying they were monitoring machines for like an hour, 2 hours. Some people were getting like the idle figures and so on. What this does, it's monitoring it every day, all day, every 10 seconds. You can see I had the PD Pro turned off there for a couple of days. I've got in this habit now, when I change a keg, if I'm not in a rush, I just turn the machine off when the keg's out, let it defrost, let all the ice melt, and then just turn it back on a day later. So in theory, hopefully, that'll mean the figures aren't skewed by ice build-up. So it's clean, it's got airflow around it. But yeah, so you can sort of see I've got data from every day. We can go back even further. Look, I've got it recording 6 months worth now. To be honest, I don't think I'll have the PD Pro in another 6 months. So we'll see. But anyway, you can see it's having to think about it. But you can see it's sort of the daily figures that I'm getting. So sort of like it was 2.15 that day, 2.04 that day, and you can see that the figures respond to the weather, the ambient temperature. They respond to how much beer's in the keg, and yeah, so people who doubt the figures, it's all there. Basically, it's all there. I've got the PD Pro, I've got the blade, I've got the sub recording now. I'm going to do this. I'm going to turn the sub off in all fairness over the weekend and just sell that. Don't get me wrong, there are beers on the sub that I love and I think it's brilliant, but I just need to downsize a little bit, to be fair. I don't need 3 beer machines. So let's have a look. Let's go to the spreadsheet, because that's what you're here for, isn't it, really? A mega spreadsheet. Everyone loves spreadsheets. So we've got loads of data. Look, we've got the average temperature each day. So got a weather station, and that's recording up to IBM's Underground, and that gives me a figure every day of what the average temperature was that day. So you can sort of see the beer machine usage goes up, obviously, when the temperature's hot. So you can see like the blade was using, well, on that day, I think that skewed the numbers because it probably had like an empty keg in the blade or a keg with a couple of pints in it. And both machines react to the temperature, how much beer's in the keg, so on, so on. But in all fairness, the PD Pro does still use a lot of power to chill an empty keg. You're just wasting power chilling an empty keg, basically, if you've got like a pint in there. So just watch out for that. That's one thing I'd say. We've got loads more data in here than the first spreadsheet. I think in the first one I did, it was showing like 1.85 or something kilowatts per day. So with all this new data in there, you can see as the temperature's dropping a little bit, the average power usage has dropped to 1.75 kilowatts. Blade's down to 0.42 kilowatts. The multiplier is just basically literally how much more power per day is the PD Pro using over the blade. So currently the average is 4.36. So you can run 4.36 blade machines to 1 PD Pro. And bearing in mind that the blade's got 8 litres of beer versus the PD Pro 6 litres of beer. But the problem is the PD Pro isn't touching the keg. It's a metal keg. It's up against it. It's a Peltier. It's just got a harder time, basically. The little sub, it's currently using a bit less power than what the blade is. But if you look at the actual figures on the last 3 days, you can see it's quite a lot less. So I ran the numbers again on that one. I think it was something like 40-something% again. So anyway, this is what it would have cost. Look, yeah, there we go. Look, I think 45%. So we've got the average daily power. So I've got the sub coming out actually at 0.27. If the blade's using 0.42, then drop 45% off that 0.27. So this is the costs that I pay today. So the PD Pro is costing me £10 a month. The blade is costing me £2.40 a month, and the sub is costing £1.56 a month. So if you're on the current variable tariff before you move over to the October price cap, you'd be paying £14.70 for the PD Pro, £3.50 for the blade, £2.27 for the sub. And so what we've got, this is what you could have won if it had kicked in. The PD Pro would have been £27.20, the blade would have been £6.50, and the sub would have been £4.20. But, thank God, Liz Truss brought in the energy price guarantee, so that came in today. It was announced this morning. The exact figures are still not out there yet. So what I've done, I've taken the from the fact sheet they've got, what we mentioned earlier, it's basically the price is dropping by around 42% from what it would have been. So if we pop that into the spreadsheet, your monthly cost of a PD Pro at the figures it's running currently in the current weather, let me just state that, it's the current weather. In winter it's probably going to be cold, so these figures are going to drop. So at the minute, the PD Pro with today's figures would be £19.22 a month. The blade would be £4.60 and the sub would be £2.96. So it's obviously much better than what we were potentially looking at. This energy price guarantee is supposed to last for 2 years, so it's going to come down through winter. So that £19.22 for the PD Pro is obviously going to drop. When I ran the beta PD Pro machine, it was showing 1.21 kilowatts per day between Christmas and New Year's. So that was with a different firmware, and the algorithm is different at the minute. So hopefully there'll be more firmwares to come that tweak that down a little bit. But so this 1.75 average at the minute is obviously in warm weather. As that weather drops a bit, that's going to come down. So if that goes down to 1.21, that's what, a third off, isn't it? So your monthly cost is going to drop potentially over Christmas and New Year's, if it is cold, to say £12-13 a month. So it's not massive, but I just wanted to get that in there because it seems there's been a lot of confusion on social media understanding some of the numbers. I think some people just see a headline and go for that, but it's all in there. It's all there. This is pretty much, it might not be 100% accurate. That 37p is what I've just worked out with what the figures are today. No one's got the exact figures at the minute. You're going to find out before the 1st of October from your energy provider if you're on a variable tariff, how much that's going to be. Get your pants pulled down, get the lube out because they're going to do you dry. Yeah, some people like that. Some people don't. I don't. But yeah, who knows? So we'll see. It might be a warm winter with all the crap going off with Russia. You'd hope it would be a warm winter, otherwise everyone's going to be spending a fortune on gas. But let's see what happens, really. People can carry on drinking the beer. I've got to admit, I've had a couple of kegs of the Oktoberfest through so far on the PD Pro. Been great. Love that every year. Fantastic time of year. If the Blade brings anything like that, that would be awesome. But to be honest, I get the feeling that we're not going to see any Oktoberfest this year. So who knows? I think on the PD Pro there's a chance we'll see an Innis & Gunn. I see they've launched a Innis & Gunn Oktoberfest lager. So potentially you might see that on the PD. Who knows? No one knows, to be fair, do they? Apart from the guys at Beerhawk. So yeah, just wanted to give an update, calm a few people down, wind a few people up. Always love doing that, to be fair. And yeah, that's what you could have won. So you could have been paying £31 in January, but with this 100 billion programme to help pay people's bills, that obviously drops to £19.22. So yeah, if you've got a couple of PD Pro machines, it's going to cost you £40 a month over Christmas time to run them. Maybe a bit, well, obviously a bit less if the weather's cold. If it drops down to 1.2 kilowatts, you're looking at what, £26? Is that right? Yeah, it's about £26 a month. So it's not a lot in the scheme of things. It's like the price of a keg per month. The Blade, yes, it's a lot cheaper. If you look at the price of the Sub and the Blade together, in all fairness, the Blade probably comes out more efficient per litre, because obviously the Blade's doing 8 litres, the Sub's 2 litres, but you can't beat those little torps at times because you can just have a change every 2 litres. It's brilliant. It's just getting very expensive in those 2 litre torps. The Blade and the PD are obviously the more cost effective options. I don't know if anyone's updated the spreadsheets yet with the new discount codes and the various, like you've lost a 15%, you're on 10% and stuff like that. So maybe we'll see a 15% return. Who knows? Hopefully now that this energy price guarantee is out there and people know what they're aiming for and how much profit they're going to make, it might mean we all see a better deal. So keep your fingers crossed, keep drinking your beer, and yeah, keep happy. See you later. I can't find that button again.